So I should probably turn that up before I get some kind of DMA violation. Oh my gosh. Hold on. All right, there we go. Hey, been working on the John Reagan with Alshay AI and Board Brains Consortium, and I've been working on the Rust kernel. And what you're seeing right now, most likely on the left side of your screen, I'm hoping over here, is the kernel, the Rust bare metal kernel, running in QEMU. Right now, I've gone past the UEFI, which is basically a VGA, so think like 1990s style computer screens, and working on the VirtIO GPU buffer, which I'm actually designing as a mirrored setup. Is already kind of set up that way for an AMD driver. So it allow me to really easily, once I get that locked in, I can more easier port the that over to an AMD driver. Sadly, I don't have a AMD graphics card. I have dual RTX 3090s, and unfortunately, NVIDIA really locks that stuff down, so I really can't play with it the way that I need to in order to make it what is essentially MICT compliant. All this stuff is MICT compliant, at least as much as I can at this point. Further, there's more security involved. You won't see that as much right now on this kernel. The kernel's in base core development at the moment, so once I finish with the GPU driver and the Ethernet, the E1000 network driver, and USB, then I'll start working through the embedded security stuff. They've already been designing to basically slot in there. So yeah, so right now this works great. I'm actually really happy with the fact that I can use it at any size. I can, actually we'll do help, boom, and it tells you what you can do. There's not a lot you can do right now. I'm just getting commands set up. All right, chill out. Even file functions right now, it's a very flat file system. I'm designing a MICT based file system that's going to be a little different, an MFS, if you will. More file systems, yay. Will give you all the normal functionality you'd look for with all of the MDO, lockdown, security, compliancy, interacting with AI stuff that I've been putting into it. So here we can see we can scan PCI, and we'll get all those slots. Before it was placeholder text, so everything that I scanned that I found, put a placeholder in just to keep it simple. Now it's a dynamic actual scanner for the PCIe slots. So we can see what's actually on those things. We can find the information. We can get all the buffer info, or the frame info basically, that we need and where it needs to go, and we can set those things up. So additionally, I found working with the AI using my MICT skill set that specifications work really well. So it can take specs and align it more to what we're doing based off of using that skill set. That's just my personal experience. I might be a little jaded because I did make it, but so here's ping. We can ping the NVMe. Usually you would use a ping to basically check anything on the hardware platform. And so next, once I get the E1000 done, we'll set up a ping, all the ping, loop back, and all that fun stuff. So you'll be able to ping it essentially, as long as you have authorization. So that's the other part of this. There's a lot of that going on in the back end. So we can also, other thing I wanted to show you is I've been working on how this connects in and how the front end system works through the MDOs. And that's what you see over here in Genesis. So Genesis was kind of the front end start to see if all of the structure would work, if it would make the code leaner, if there are benefits, and there's a lot of benefits I'm finding. So I've really just been plowing at making this work and putting the, you could say, MICT touch on it, the MICT touch on it. So basically over here in Genesis, we have a terminal window now. This terminal is a glass. It's just a looking glass into what's going on here with the kernel terminal. So this is a little more terminal than this, you might say. This is just a dummy terminal. So we can go scan PCI here, and you're going to notice some anomalies with the feedback and some duplicates and stuff. There's things I have to take care of, but we can see it pops up here. We can say list and check the file system. You can see all the files that are on the drive. That just says greeting.txt. That's all it is. These are all different MDO payloads that have come back in from the Gemini API that I have set up right now. So what I set up initially was so that this could mediate and route certain calls and stuff like that, so we could manage the API and the response and which AI and all that kind of those fun things that you would want to have. So I made a API config gateway, and so here you would be able to, this isn't available right now, this is something I'm working on. I've actually worked on it, it works just great. But here you'd be able to drop in your OpenAI or Gemini key. It gets saved to the keyring on your host system, so your AI doesn't actually have any direct access to it, and your AI gets verified through the system in order to be able to even make these exchanges. So if we have agents on these and it's running, it's doing things, it never actually gets access directly to your key. So that's a little safety thing I put in there. So we can actually list the available models here using the appropriate API key. I'm not going to do that right now. I've actually already got it set up. So I can go in and grab it and do stuff. And it's just a free key anyway. It's not, you know, I don't have a card attached to it or anything. I'm not that stupid. So now when I click back in here, you can see we get the output that we had over on the other side in Genesis. And the reason is, again, because the Genesis side is just a dummy terminal. So once we click back in and reactivate QEMU, we get the output that came through that is then echoed essentially in this terminal over here in Genesis. So what I wanted to show you though is I can issue a request. Right now I did have it so it was feeding the full request in the screen, but I didn't have scroll set up yet. So right now I'm just loading them to MDO files, which is essentially a JSON structure at the moment. So you can really just go in there and read it if you know how to open it through QEMU, through the drive setup and stuff. And then, so that's all saved. Like I said, this stuff over in the Agentic gateway config's all saved. It's all ready to go. So in here, I'll just type request, and I'll say, what's a triangle? And you'll see it echoed on the other side at the moment where the API request is registering. What's a triangle? Gateway routing. So right now what's happening is it's going through the backend system to verify that this request actually has authorization to reach out to the internet, to the AI, to even ask a question. So we can see that the AI response was saved here at payload 13 over here in the what I'm calling the PolymorphOS kernel. You'll get that more later on, I'm sure. You'll understand once you see what I have planned. So, what are we saved in? 13. I was looking the one above .md. Oh. And we can see we got a mixed structured response back. So the way it's set up right now, it does filter that request with an initial mixed skill. So it's already embedded in there. So the AI gets told one time, hey, do it like this, and then every instance after that is structured in this way. And it I did have it set up for continuous chat as well, but I took that out because until I had the read format and basically until I had the full read format where I could do scrolling and stuff, this was about the best I could get. So this is where I was thinking I would dump that so you could actually do scrolling, but I decided to forget it. I'm just going to go full bore on the kernel. Genesis is more of a front-end test bed area where I can play with different parts of the system, see how it works, make sure it does work, have another side to plug into, you might say. So it just makes it easier for me to have kind of this playground tool set to work with. And I like the fact that it was a lot easier to get this terminal to scroll. This one, I'll get it to scroll, but it's all content based stuff. It's a little more, and I wanted to get into the graphics driver for this one before spending any depth of time really making this work better, if that makes sense. So yeah, so it looks good. I mean, like I said, I'm really, really excited with this one, with the Polymorph OS as I'm calling it. And I'm just gonna keep plugging away and make this thing work. So keep an eye out.